Hey guys, Mike the Cop. What is this coronavirus teaching us as a society that law enforcement has actually been trying to convey for a long time? And what is one way that you can help support those on the front lines of this thing? The impact of the coronavirus is undeniable, no matter which side of the political spectrum you come from, no matter whether you're white collar, blue collar. It is impacting us all economically and socially in ways that are simply undeniable. Thank you so much to the frontline responders on this, especially the medical staff, whether it's from the paramedics all the way to doctors and nurses at the hospital, makeshift hospitals, wherever you are at, you are working day in and day out and then some to help battle this thing. And I want to say thank you personally to do that. You are helping to serve in your communities, and it's not unnoticed. And a lot of you know I'm partnered with Black Rifle Coffee. Starting today through the end of the month, they are initiating again a buy a bag, give a bag campaign. They're going to partner with the USO, the Red Cross, and other hospital organizations so that when you order a bag of coffee, they will send, for every order they get that has coffee in it, they're going to send a bag of coffee to the front lines medical staff to get them some coffee into their hands, to encourage them, to say thank you, keep them fueled during this crazy time. And if you have never used the code Mike the Cop, you can do so, and it will save you 20% in the process. So hopefully it's an everybody wins thing in a difficult time where we're trying to keep business going and trying to do something good in the community. Okay, now what is this lesson that I'm talking about? Now, I have preached this from the hills, the mountaintops for years now, and that is that the likelihood of an officer encountering someone who wants to do them harm is very, very slim. Just like it's very slim that someone actually encounters a bad, crooked cop. These are things that are a reality of our world, but they are not common. But that said, officers have tried to explain to the culture for a long time why they have to be cautious and careful in the way that they approach people on traffic stops, on police calls, all that stuff out there in the public, not because it is probable that there's going to be a problem, but because there could be a problem, that it exists. And so you train with that possibility in mind. You've got to be polite, you've got to be professional, but you got to keep that possibility of a problem in mind. And that has an impact on how we train and how we carry ourselves as cops. And we try to convey that to people because it's not a personal thing, that we might be a little bit more standoffish, not as likely to maybe like shake a hand or enter in quickly into a place of comfort. We have to establish a sense of safety and security in that process. Not because it happens all the time, but because it happens. That's why. And when this whole coronavirus thing started, I was definitely notched over here where I didn't take it too seriously. And again, this is not a video about who's right, who's wrong, how do we get here. We are here. No matter where you're at on that spectrum, we are here. And now we got to think about what can we learn from this and how can we move forward. It is hitting home. What was originally supposed to be something that would impact this virus only the elderly and those that had pre-existing medical conditions that would exacerbate the symptoms. That has proven to be not always the case, that's for sure. Right here in Metro Detroit, Detroit Police Department has suffered the loss of a police officer and a dispatcher in the last 24 hours. Our hearts go out to them as they experience this, but it is showing us that this thing isn't just what it was possibly described at the beginning. And a lot of the issue with this virus compared to other things is the unknown. And that is what caught my attention. It's the unknown. Why wasn't I taking this seriously, even though I'm very likely to not ever be impacted by it? Worldwide, the mortality rate is about 4%. Here in the United States, I think it's only 1 point something. It's under 2%. But let's just say, even if it was only 1%, if it does spread rapidly and it is an unknown, then what we're dealing with is a very similar situation to what we're trying to convey to people as cops in the first place, which is that you have to kind of approach this thing with wisdom, right? That you have to move forward, not in fear, not in panic, but you have to be aware that this is a real thing that's out there, and how we respond to it matters. The objective reality of this thing is that most people won't get it. The other reality is that out of those who do get it, most of them are going to recover and be fine. But not everybody. And we can do our part by taking certain steps to prepare ourselves and to live in this reality of the unknown. Hopefully we obviously develop a vaccine and treatment for this and all that stuff, and we mitigate the results of this virus. But until then, as we live in this unknown, it's very, very similar to what I've been trying to convey for all these years as a law enforcement officer. And so I kind of had to preach my own message to myself in this and think, oh, that connects the dots. How I need to approach this virus. It's teaching us that even though there's a minimal risk, it could spread fast. And so we have to mitigate that risk and how we approach dealing with it. And it's teaching that lesson to all of us, but it's the lesson cops have been trying to convey to people for a long time. But now it's sort of my turn, maybe it's some of our turn to sort of turn and preach that message back to ourselves as to how we think about and how we approach a response to this COVID-19 thing. So that said, whether you want to call it COVID-19, whether you want to call it China virus or whatever you want to call it, and whatever your position is, I just implore you to kind of think through maybe the lesson that I just learned for myself. Maybe it's of value to you. And if you can support the Buy a Bag, Give a Bag campaign through Black Rifle Coffee, again, you can use the code Mike the Cop to save yourself 20% and make sure a bag of coffee from your order gets added on and sent to someone who could use it right now and use the encouragement. So thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Share this video up.